Hello everyone, I'm Broughy1322 and welcome to the very first Broughy Verified playlist of races for New Gen. We are finally here. So before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody how to access these. When you click the links down below, you'll be taken to the individual playlists. Go to the top right hand corner and click add to game. That adds the entire playlist to your game. To access that, you go to online, scroll down to playlists, then go to my bookmarked playlists, and it will be there for you to select. You start it up and you play all of the jobs in the order that they're meant to be played, all in one go. Now that doesn't add the jobs to your game individually. To do that, you actually need to go on each individual job within the playlist, go down to the bottom of the job and click add to game down there. That will add the individual jobs to your game so that you can then play them one at a time or as a one-off, whatever you want to do. To access those, you just go to jobs, go to play job, then go down to bookmarked, and the jobs will be there for you to access. So all of these are available on Xbox One, PC and PS4. They've all been recreated on all of those platforms and the playlists are exactly the same on each one. So it's the first time we've ever seen anything like this and a lot of work went into it, but let's get straight into seeing what made it into the very first Broughy Verified playlist. And we start up with Los Santos Grand Prix, pretty much where it all started. My own tracks start and end these playlists. Next up we've got Mackenzie Raceway, which was originally created on PC by Cloud McShort. This is around the Grapeseed area, a really nice track. And then after that we've got Skyline Raceway, which we've seen quite a few times in previous videos, from Avivo Jr., also created on the PC originally. After that we have Calling Arms by Cameron1329, a very good, very short race in Zancudo. Should be very action packed. And then after that we've got The Great Hills by Imarogco, around the Vinewood Hills area, very unique layout and really interesting around there, very well made. After that we have Tom Cruisin' by Cirrus 5005 with our first airport track of the playlist. And there's try to keep a good mix of different areas in the playlist, and I'll talk about that later on. But after that we've got Fever Pitch by Pardonias, really good track in the industrial section of the map. And then it finishes up with Blaine County 24 Hour, probably my favourite of my own personal tracks. But yeah, that is the entirety of the playlist. 8 circuits, 8 very good circuits, let's put it that way. Supremely high quality. These aren't the only tracks that are going to be Broughy Verified. I've got obviously quite a few more. My plan is that there's going to be 5 different playlists for this. They will all start and finish with my tracks, and then in the middle we'll have obviously all of the tracks from the community that have been submitted and those that I've basically picked out as the best. So this has been a long drawn out process. For anybody who doesn't know what this is all about, basically this started way back on Old Gen, and I created a number of Broughy Verified playlists back then as well for PS3 and Xbox 360, because I was never quite satisfied with how Rockstar did their verifications. They didn't verify proper races, and they still don't really. They've done a few, but the races that they verify tend to be more about jumps and having fun and things like that, which is totally fine. I can understand that, but there was nothing really there for, let's say, serious racers, people who wanted to do proper racing on a standard racing circuit. So I created the Broughy Verified series. I took suggestions, I took submissions from people who had created tracks on the game, and I basically chose a number of them, the ones that I thought were the best. Now that was obviously back on Old Gen, but there was a lot of people who wanted me to bring it back for New Gen, but I knew that it was going to be a huge undertaking because there would be so many more tracks to go through. I wouldn't want to do it by half measures. Back on 360 and PS3, the verified playlists that I made were different because there were different tracks on PS3, different tracks on Xbox 360. But I wanted to do it properly if we were going to do it on New Gen, by making sure that the Broughy Verified playlists were the same and available for everybody. Obviously at this point you're seeing basically one lap of each of these jobs in order. Some great fantastic jobs. Now we'll talk about them in a little while, but yeah, you will see basically a single lap of all of the jobs in the order of the playlist that they're in. So yeah, I kind of wanted to do it properly, and by doing that, that meant opening it up to everybody, making sure we got as many submissions as possible, so we saw as many tracks as possible to get the absolute best from the community. In addition, I wanted to make sure that they were exactly the same on PS4, PC and Xbox One, so that everybody on those platforms can have the same great experience racing these tracks. And it was a long process. We're kind of into the final stage of that with the recreations now. Obviously, you know, most of my work in terms of choosing the tracks has been done, but I've made videos about the process before, and it is very long and very drawn out, especially when you're trying to do other videos at the same time. So I'll leave a link down below in the description to the sort of the update video I made about Broughy Verified, which does go into a little bit more detail about my whole selection process and how long it took and where I was up to at the time. But ultimately, here we are with the very first playlist for the Broughy Verified series, and I'm so excited about it. It's the first time we've ever seen something like this where it's identical on all three main platforms now. There's just no way to sort of support the old gen platforms these days when it comes to something like this, but these are some absolutely fantastic tracks, and I'm really looking forward to basically getting back into some playlist racing myself on these tracks. And it's going to be the same, you know. I can whether I'm on Xbox One or PC or PS4 for a stream, I can load up a Broughy Verified playlist and the tracks will all be the same. They'll all be what I know, and I think that's fantastic to have that sort of that level of continuity with these sort of great tracks from the racing community. It's not just a case of that's the best track on Xbox and it's completely different to all of the tracks on PS4. Now we've got some tracks that are exactly the same on all platforms, and I just want to give a quick thank you to everybody who's helped me during this process, especially those who've recreated these tracks. You'll obviously see who they are when you sort of look at the jobs themselves, but I really just want to thank you guys for helping me do this, because you know, there's no way I would have been able to do this on my own. Absolutely no way. There's no way I would have been able to recreate all of these tracks to the level that they have been recreated, so they're exactly the same on my own. It just wasn't going to happen. So yeah, big thanks to them. And let's talk about the tracks a little bit. I'll come back to Mackenzie Raceway in a little while, but Skyline Raceway is actually the only track in the entirety of all 5 Broughy Verified playlists that has a shared section. So as you can see, we're coming up to this part now. This was the start of the lap, if you remember, at the very start of this clip. So this section, and you've seen it in previous videos before, you know, the police cruiser event was on this track as well. It's a really great track, but it has a shared section as well, and it's very difficult to get that right. You know, only the North Loop has a shared section as well, and that's, you know, such a huge track. It doesn't really matter as much. It's very difficult to get it right, and the whole idea with these races is that they are proper racing circuits. You know, there were so many people who sent me crossovers and jumps and things like that. It's like, you know, I just wasn't looking for that. I'm looking for extremely well made tracks that leave sort of no question as to where you need to go in terms of checkpoint placement. The props are all really well done. The props actually make a difference to the track. The layout is very good. It's a unique layout. You know, there were so many tracks that I saw that were very good, but there were very few tracks that I saw that were absolutely excellent, and these are the first batch of very excellent tracks, basically. So yeah, Skyline Raceway, it's really fun. A lot of stuff goes into that race that you've got to be aware of in terms of, you know, the shared section and all that kind of stuff. It's quite an interesting track. And then here we've got Calling Arms, which I think is probably the shortest circuit from all of the Broughy Verified tracks, even those that we've still got to show. I think it's the shortest, but it really doesn't matter, because it has a lovely flow to it, and certain sections like here are left open with the dirt. It's just got a really nice flow to it, and I can really envisage some great battles around here. And you know, with these playlists, I try to make them varied. So it's not only about choosing the best tracks that get submitted to me, it's about making the playlists work and make sense as a playlist. You know, I could just stick 8 city races in one playlist and then another playlist with a load of Blaine County races and hill races, but part of the art of the Broughy Verified playlist is that sort of that difference in the tracks. You know, you're never going to get more than 2 of any kind of track. You know, 2 city tracks, 2 Blaine County tracks, 2 hill tracks. That variety is there in each of these playlists, and this is obviously shown here because we've had Los Santos Grand Prix and Skyline, which were both city tracks, Mackenzie Raceway, which was in sort of Blaine County Grapeseed area. Then we had Calling Arms, which was obviously in Zancudo. We've got Tom Cruisin', which is in the airport. We've got the Great Hills, which is in the hills. You know, trying to make that variety so it's not just a boring experience of playing through a playlist and all of the tracks feel exactly the same. That variety is definitely there, and the tracks themselves are extremely well made. You know, it's not just about at some point it becomes not just about the layout of the track, it becomes about the smaller details, how the checkpoints are placed, how the props are placed, where the lampposts have been covered off to allow you to have a pure racing experience. You know, if lampposts aren't covered up, then it's going to cause issues because people are going to hit them, lag is going to cause them to fall down, and that is something else that you look for in all of these tracks. You know, just how pure of a racing experience can you have with these tracks, and they're all very, very good for that. Now obviously the Great Hills is one of the longer circuits in this playlist. It's very unique. I don't feel like I've seen this kind of layout before. Obviously these sections of road are used in various different tracks, but put together in the way that they have been with the Great Hills, it's very, very refreshing to see, and again extremely well made. Going back to Mackenzie Raceway, because I was talking about other things, that is you know, a really, really great track for Grapeseed. There's so many tracks around Grapeseed, there's so many tracks in the Blaine County area that are very, very similar to each other. You know, they use the same roads, but Mackenzie Raceway just had something a little bit extra. It was slightly different with the road choice that it used, and again very, very well made, and that is true for all of these races, and that's what sets them apart from the competition, really. You know, as I said, there were a lot of very good tracks, but these are just sort of a cut above the rest in terms of the quality of their design and the way that they're made. So yeah, I do sort of apologize to anybody if you didn't get your track in. You know, it's a very, very difficult thing to have to whittle down all of these tracks, and it's, you know, when you see a lot of good tracks, you've got to make a choice of how good do you want this playlist to be. Do you want it to be an average playlist with good tracks, or do you want it to be sort of a really, really high level playlist with only the very, very best tracks? And you know, there are a smaller number of tracks in these playlists than you may have been expecting. You know, that there's only 8 tracks in all 5 of the playlists, so only 40 circuits overall, and obviously 10 of them will be mine. But it's what I think works best, because it means that you can load up one of these Broughy Verified playlists and know that you're going to get quality. As I mentioned, you know, this isn't the only Broughy Verified playlist, there will be more. We're just sort of working on the recreations and getting the finer details down. This is just the first of 5, so it should be fun to really sort of go through all of these and bring you these videos to showcase each of the playlists as we get them. And I'm really looking forward to getting back into some more serious, proper playlist racing now that we've got a sort of a consistent number of tracks that can be played, and everybody can learn, everybody can sort of hot lap them if they want, everybody can race them and know them, and just get to know these tracks. That they are the cream of the crop in terms of GTA, in my personal opinion. Obviously this is always my personal opinion. My channel is nothing else, I guess, but I just look at these tracks and think, you know, there are some great races that you could have on here. So obviously we had Tom Cruise in there, that our first airport track of the playlists. Again, I think Broughy Verified 1 has the widest variety in terms of track selection. You know, there's Zancudo in there, there's an airport race in there, there's sort of the industrial race here with Fever Pitch. Not all of the playlists are going to be necessarily as varied as this. They are going to be varied. It's just that, you know, there may not be an airport track in one of them, for example, or there may not be a Zancudo track in one of them. It's just based on the tracks that made it, but that variety is still going to be there with the selection and in particular the order that they're placed. You know, I've made sure to place the tracks in an order within the playlist that makes sense, so that you can have a varied experience. And again, you know, it's not just about picking a lot of tracks that are good. It's about making a playlist that will give you the best racing experience on this game that it's possible to have, and hopefully I've been able to do that. Fever Pitch is a great circuit to you know, it's so sort of interesting to have these sort of back and forth S sections a lot of the time. It's not a very long circuit, and that variety is there with these playlists in terms of length of tracks as well. You know, some tracks are very long, some tracks are short, a lot of tracks are in the middle, but it's interesting to have that variety and bring all of these styles together. Everybody has their own style when it comes to racing. There are certain things that you need to do. You know, you need to make sure the checkpoints are placed on the apex. You need to make sure that lampposts are sort of covered over so that they don't cause issues during a race. But everybody has their own style in the way that they like to design tracks, in terms of the props that they use, in terms of the corners that they like to make, and the layout of the track itself. And it's great to bring all of these styles together, in addition to the fact that, you know, there are different styles across PC and Xbox One and PS4. It's great to, yeah, as I said, you know, bring all of these styles together and make an experience that is exactly the same across all platforms. So as we watch the final track in the playlist, Blaine County 24 Hours, you have seen this a lot, I would say, in my videos. It will be nice to bring in some more footage from these tracks, because I'm pretty much going to be exclusively racing Broughy Verified tracks if I'm racing on whatever platform it is, on a stream or something like that. You know, I don't have the time to continually learn all sorts of new tracks, so it's great that there's a sort of a certain amount of tracks that will be the same on all platforms, so no matter what I'm on, I can race those, know those, and I hope that goes for everybody else as well. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support of wanting the Broughy Verified series to return. It's been a lot of hard work to get it all sorted, but I really do appreciate that you guys wanted it to come back, because I've enjoyed trying to find the best tracks, and I will enjoy racing on all of these as well. Remember that all of the links are in the description. There's a link for the playlist on PS4, Xbox One and PC. Social Club can be a little bit buggy sometimes, so if you open it up and it doesn't work, just keep trying, leave Social Club tab open and then try to click the link again. Make sure you're on the correct platform and all that kind of stuff as well. Make sure you add these playlists to your game and try them out. They are very, very well made tracks, and they're a lot of fun as well. I really do hope that you guys enjoy these, and that all the work that has gone into sort of bringing them to you, regardless of what platform you're on, has been worthwhile. And remember, this is only the first of 5 playlists. There's going to be a different video for every single playlist. These aren't the only races that are going to be Broughy Verified. These are just the first batch, and we've got some wonderful races still to come. So that's pretty much it. It's been a long video because I wanted to make sure that I got a little bit of one lap of every single race in here, so you can get an idea of what the tracks are like before you get there. But definitely click those links in the description, add the playlists to your game, add the jobs to your game, play through them with your friends, and just have some fun with it, because that's what it's all about, you know, just loading up GTA if you enjoy racing, loading up some great race tracks and having a good racing experience on the game. And we can do that when we're given the right tools in terms of the right cars and certainly the right tracks, and these tracks are just the cream of the crop, and I was surprised by how good they really are, to be honest. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support as always. Be sure to leave all your thoughts down below and a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.